This will be the largest civil disobedience protest, certainly in the history of the climate movement in North America, and really one of the biggest things of its kind to happen in a very, very long time. One of the beautiful things about it is that next weekend, they're dedicating a monument to Martin Luther King on the Mall. We didn't know that when we set the date for this, but it's going to be pretty beautiful to be able to tell people it's not just history, we're still doing it. One of the things that I particularly like, of course, is looking around, is that the great disparity in certain cases like my own between the age of the people training us how to do this and those of us doing it. And that's one of the things we hope for a lot, to have a real diversity of people. Because, of course, a lot of us have spent our whole lives pouring carbon into the atmosphere, and we have a fair amount to answer for. And it's nice to be able to start that answering. And in fact, you'll recall when we asked you to sign up, we didn't ask your age, because that would be rude, but we asked who was president when you were born. And I think, at least as of yesterday, the two biggest cohorts were people from born in the FDR and Truman administrations. We have more than a sprinkling of Calvin Coolidge babies coming. I don't think we've heard from the Harding administration yet, but who knows? One of the things that you can tell that I'm hoarse, and one of the reasons for that is I've been talking a lot the last few weeks, talking a lot to reporters and things. And one of the good things about that is that it allows me and all of us who do it to kind of sharpen, to get a sense of the talking points that work and the messages that work and get across to people and that people can hear and understand. And so I want to talk just for a minute about the kind of things that I'll be thinking of tomorrow and the kind of mood I'll be in. And y'all will figure all this out on your own. But the gravity of the situation is, in a sense, defined by the size of this. There's a geological dimension to this problem. We're talking about the second largest pool of carbon on Earth, and that's why it's so important we not dip into it in a big way. You've all read that quote from Jim Hansen that says, if we burn a lot of this stuff, it's essentially game over for the climate. Pretty hard to find a starker statement than that, and pretty hard to find stakes that matter more than that. Second thing is not geological, but political. One of the things that really resonates with everyone is the understanding that for the first time, really in his presidency, Barack Obama has a clear shot to do the right thing without any interference at all. Congress does not play a role in this decision. He will sign or not sign the piece of paper that allows this pipeline to be built. And the way that often reporters have tried to put it to me is, so that means that if he goes ahead and lets it get built, everybody will be really angry and not vote for him and things. And I've tried sort of hard not to fall into that game particularly. I've sort of said the opposite, that at least for me, the prospect of Barack Obama blocking this pipeline, doing the right thing, is a wonderful one, in part because it would send an electrifying jolt through all the people who worked hard for him to get elected 4 years ago. It would remind some of us of why it was we were so taken by his campaign. And that our presence outside the White House is in certain ways less a protest of Obama, though in part it clearly is a protest, than it is a way to show the kind of deep and profound support for doing the right thing. The wonderful Secretary of the EPA, Lisa Jackson, said a few weeks ago that one of the reasons they've had trouble is, and I quote, because there's not people out in the streets like there was at the first earthquake. We're going to, at the very least, take away that excuse for inaction. and help frame this question. That's why I'm going to wear my Obama 08 button tomorrow when I get arrested. Our great friend Mike Tidwell, who a lot of you know, the head of the Chesapeake Climate Action Network, the best regional climate organizer in the country, found a bag full of those on eBay or someplace, and he's passing some out and if other people want to wear them. It's an effective statement of I think what at least some people are feeling. That goes to the question of what kind of mood we'll be in yesterday and tomorrow. We had a really interesting dinner the other night with a few of the people who founded Get Equal, the group that managed to really, with, among other things, civil disobedience, persuade the president to do the right thing on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And Dan Choi, who's one of the great heroes of that, is here tonight. I don't know if he's... and Dan is going to be with us tomorrow, and that'll be wonderful to have him there. What they said to us, one of the things they said, and they were thinking more about the press, but I think also just about our own psychology in a sense. They said, don't be, when you're being arrested, don't be sort of happy and smiling, and at the same time, don't be like crazy angry, you know? That neither of these sort of work exactly. That the mood to be in, they thought, and I confess I think, is sort of a little bit solemn. At some sense, we shouldn't have to be here doing this. The fact that the most important scientist on the federal government payroll said that if we really do this, it's game over for the climate, should have ended this debate long ago before it began. But this is our, you know, we're not naive. We know that we're up against the most powerful industry in the entire planet. The fossil fuel industry has, they have, I don't know how much, we have some clergy here, I don't know how much money God has, but and so we know that the odds are against us, but we're changing those odds in a considerable way with our presence here, which leads to the kind of final point I think it's important for us all to be getting across, and certainly something I'm saying all the time as I talk to reporters, which is sort of tests, defining moments, just kind of sometimes appear. And this is one of those times.